People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning in. YouTube's N'Golo Kante and all of them things. That's a throwback for you, ones that were here from the start. But we all know 90% of transfer rumours is gossip. I know we're linked with this player, that player, and the other player. What actually happens is a different thing. I'm going to reserve my whole opinion on the transfer market and all of these sort of things until the window's shut. We know what Arsenal need. If you don't support Arsenal, I'm sure you know what we need anyways, in addition to your own club. But if nothing more, we might as well talk about the rumours now. In regards to Dani Ceballos, apparently we're confident of completing this loan move. No obligation to buy. Arsenal obviously play in Washington against Real Madrid on Tuesday. So maybe I's are dotted and T's are crossed and final completion sort of things are done. I know it'll only be signed on loan, but from a sensible point of view, you'd imagine Arsenal's medical team would conduct a medical on the player of sorts and get things done. So it makes it easier for everybody just to move forward and whatnot. Apparently Zidane's green lighted the transfer. They want him back at Madrid, so I guess it ticks all parties. They get they're sending a player away in principle that's going to go to a team that needs to get into the Champions League, and he can be sort of a main player in that. So he'd play substantially, gain confidence, and return to Real Madrid for Zidane, a better player, believing he can do his thing. Because it's almost like he's treated as cast off goods. I mean, you look at him, completely different, but Dan Crowley, who's 21. People look at these players where they've hyped them and it hasn't happened of sorts. And again, that's an extreme example, and the two aren't correlated, but they assume that these are finished now. And he's only 22, turning 23. You saw a glimpse into what he can do at the under-21s. From a selfish point of view, of course, not having an option to buy is silly for Arsenal, because if he does turn into his market value, how would you rate him? Probably 40, 50 and up, people. Probably 40, 50 sort of region. 55, you could probably buy him outright if the bands were there, would you say, just as a fan. If he plays well or whatnot, he might add some more tax on that, people. Who knows? Again, I'm exaggerating, but let's just say in a mad exaggerated world, he got PFA player of the season. His value is going to triple. Now, Zidane and Real Madrid could take him back and challenge, and he can boost their things. Or the other teams, I don't know, City, just say City, United, because they got the money, for example. Chelsea, if the ban's over, and all the other clubs, they might go, okay, Arsenal made him play quite well. He played quite well for Arsenal, but they ain't got a buyout clause. I want in Madrid, and if Madrid decide they want to do something else with their transfer strategy, that might help them sort of thing. So they're going to get someone whose market value should be raised, or they're going to get back a better player, so it ticks the boxes for us. From a selfish point of view, this season at least it helps us because we've got a creative player that can fill the void with Ramsey, try help us in that aspect, potentially saving money in regards to not buying a permanent player in that role. Maybe developing Emil Smith role or looking for the next 12 months for someone to do that sort of thing while investing our funds elsewhere if the budget is to be believed, people. Who knows? For me, I would have loved a buy clause, really and truly, but it is what it is. In addition to that, apparently was confident on completing that move. We also want Zaha, who allegedly is handed in a transfer request at Palace. Kieran Tierney and a new centre-half. Apparently Raul Sanllehi has left America where we're on tour, so that probably means we'll see I's dotted, T's crosses, maybe more aggression in regards to the pace of our transfers and things like that. I know the Saliba one, you've seen St Etienne's chairman speaking about it, Emre's spoken about it and said, it's kind of cool that he can stay for a year at St Etienne because we want him. That looks like that's close to being completed. Apparently, people believe it will be completed early next week. Going to assume that's Monday or Tuesday when St Etienne return from Washington. And we're going to be in Washington, so maybe from a cynical point of view, I don't know when we travel to Washington, but and I'm not sure when St Etienne leave, but could we send people there, get medicals done sort of thing? Madrid could be there as well. So if Madrid and St Etienne and Arsenal, people all about at some sort of period together, can we get the bulk of these things done and then moved on? Of course, in today's climate, things can get done without it. People can be globally. And it wouldn't make much sense because apparently Raul Sanllehi has left America. Where he's gone, I'm not too sure. On what it's done, I'm not too sure. It could be to do business with Arsenal. Touch wood, it could be something in his personal life that he has to deal with. Who knows? Or it could be something related to Arsenal, but unrelated to this. So who knows, people, really and truly. But it is promising to hear. Of course, the more you hear about this, you want it to just get over the line. For me, I would just love a new centre-half in addition to Kieran Tierney, Ceballos, Zaha, and anything else is just bread and butter. For me personally, you don't know me, people. I've said it enough times. Just want to go back to having a good back four, people that know how to defend, a team that knows how to defend, take it from there and marry in Aubameyang, Lacazette, all of these guys that can score goals and do all this creative Arsenal stuff that we've become accustomed to in many years. But who knows? In regards to Emre, he's obviously said we'll only sign players that improve the team. He won't move for any plan B or second choice players, and he hopes to get first choices even though they're expensive. So we'll see what happens in that market. Again, I don't believe this, but Icardi has his eyes set on Juventus, but apparently Inter Milan were prepared to offer Icardi in exchange for Aubameyang. I'm not too sure if there was a transfer fee involved or any of that, but apparently Icardi doesn't fancy a move to the Emirates, or no, not the Emirates. He actually said to England, but we have to assume to the Emirates then. So I don't know what's you lot's takes on that. I don't mind. I like Icardi, but nah, I wouldn't really be feeling that. I mean, it's a calm replacement, but I just wouldn't really, man. There's nothing really tempting. Of course, you get a younger player. Aubameyang's 30 for as much as I like him, and things like that. I wouldn't mind Icardi, but I'm not feeling that one. So it's probably just nonsense. Apologies, people. What's all of that? Low back. Apparently, ironically, talking about buyback clauses, apparently we want to sign Moise Kean from Juventus. Everton are apparently wanting to do that as well. Apparently, Juventus want to sell for 25 to 30 million euros, which, depending on how you structure that, you'd think that's realistic. I mean, you'd probably have to kiss goodbye to Eddie Nketiah for the next 18 months or so, because that's the place he's taking, as well as playing on both flanks. The first thing that screams for me is he's going to play up front as well. Terrific player. Would be silly to give Juventus a buyback clause. Everton want him, and apparently they're prepared to do that, so it probably helps Juventus if they want to sell him, see how he develops, and then buy him back. Everton get a player. Everton are on that. Why not? For Arsenal, it'd be silly, because you lot know me, I'm a big Moise Kean fan, man. Apparently, Bristol obviously want Eddie Nketiah, and they're willing to foot the wage bill. Now, Eddie's got a lot to consider. He seems on the cusp of things at first team. He seems he'll get chances. If he realistically thinks he'll get chances significantly here, he has a duty to take them. Bristol, they're in the Championship or so, or are they in League One? Forgive me, I don't know off the top of my head. But they've shown an interest for a while to get him now. Apparently, they'll pay all of his wage bills, so that assumes you're going to play substantially. I do know their manager has a good record of young players. Emre came out and said they rejected offers in January for Eddie to move to Germany in the top division. So if you did get offers from the top division, and then Bristol, with all respect to Bristol, I would have tried to go down that route a bit more, test myself in the top league, ask less questions on myself. You go to a top league, you either come back at Arsenal and try to cut your teeth, or you stay there for another year or in that sort of league or sort of stature sort of league, and you prove people it's no fluke, you're no one-hit wonder if he was to score 20 goals, for example. He's got a lot to consider. If he believes he can honestly play substantially here enough to progress beyond the bit part role, then cool. But if it's the same of what it is last season, I don't, as much as I like him, I wouldn't advocate staying here, because just beyond being a body for depth, he weren't involved. Like, there was games we was chasing the game, and you're seeing Kolasinac and other sort of attacking options within the context of the game coming in. I'm not criticising Emre, it just is what it is. If I'm seeing that as a striker, I'd have several things. Does Emre believe in me? Does he genuinely believe this left back crossing the ball is a better option than putting me onto the field? I know you've got Lacazette and Aubameyang, but another goal scorer. The amount of times he's travelled with the first team to play in shows at the moment, for all the pre-season stuff, at the moment he's a bit part player. He's just a body, especially with Welbs' injury. With Welbs' injury, he didn't get significant game time, so that might pay a clue. Also, if we read between the lines, Moise Kean, Dembele, even that Bowen guy from Hull, have been linked with a lot of strikers, people. I don't believe these individual reports, but there's no smoke without fire. You have heard that Emre does want another striker. Whether he wants someone that can play in a couple of roles, as well as up front like a Welbs, who knows? If Eddie can believe in himself, well, he does believe in himself, if he can develop himself into that, then cool. I think Eddie's improved in terms of his work rate. Maybe he's trying a bit too hard to impress, but you're seeing different elements of his game. I've always felt he's good at working the channels, but you're seeing him laying on the things for teammates, dropping deep. I do think he's got to improve with his back to goal. That's one glaring weakness in his game, for as good as he is in front of goal. If he genuinely believes he can play here, then cool. Obviously, he scored against Burnley last season and that, but if he looks back and has the same season he did last season, there's not going to be any progression, and you're going to look back, yeah, you had pre-season, but what is that really and truly? What is that? If he's got to have an honest conversation with Emre, how he sees him next season, how much he can train and work hard, and how much can he honestly play. If Emre's thrown down the gauntlet and said, listen, I see you as a genuine option, if you train, you will play, then cool. But if he says, you're a rotation option, you're this and that, then it wouldn't make sense, because you just got to look at, again, you've got, these young players got to be patient. A couple of them will play from the off. I'd think Nelson, and who knows, I'd love Saka. But the majority of them probably going to have to be patient. Look at the fixtures we've got. We've got Newcastle first game of the season. We've got Liverpool, Spurs, and I'm sure United in a couple of other weeks after that. The bulk of these players might get chances when the Europa League comes into play, or the cup competitions, or beyond the obviously Premier League minutes off the bench here and there. Does he want to do that? Does Eddie want to do a thing where he's going to try his hardest now, but come 6 months in January, he goes out on loan? That might be something to consider. You try your hardest now. If you're not getting first team now, you go out next season, because I do believe he needs to play senior football to develop. Look, he scores goals for fun. Joe Willock as well, great chance right now, getting into Arsenal's first team. But if he doesn't play significantly in January, he should go out on loan. He's at that level. I think it's an injustice for him to be a body. I think he needs to get minutes, man. I like him. I really like Joe Willock, man. I want to see him get some chances. And just from a selfish point of view, if he wants to develop, he needs to go somewhere or stay here, or if we can give him them amount of games, people. So we'll see how that one develops. I don't really like talking about Koscielny anymore, but apparently he wants to free himself to join Bordeaux. A meeting is scheduled within the next 48 hours with Arsenal that might actually correlate with Raul Sanllehi leaving America. Now, didn't Bordeaux sell a couple players this summer? They have to pay a transfer fee for this guy, even if it's 2 million or something. Make them pay, man. Unless he's going to get heavily sanctioned and things like that, why are we letting him go for free again? I know he's 34, he's been a low serviceman, the club might have told something and then retracted, but at the same time, he ain't gone on tour. And as much as Arsenal might have done him Koscielny dirty allegedly, the club are within their rights to demand a transfer fee. Someone's playing music, people, that's why you heard that nonsense. So yeah, I don't think there's much more to speak about in regards to transfers, really and truly, man. It just looks like there's a good chance of Saliba being done and joining the club. Ceballos looks to be joining the club on loan. Past that, there's not much. Apparently, we're not in for Everton at all, based on what I'm seeing on reports as well. We weren't in for Everton. It's nothing more than speculation, but there is obviously reports saying that we inquired about him and whatnot, and saying he's a plan B. We'll never know, truly, fans, what's going on, really and truly, because we're fans. It makes it exciting for us to speak about it. I'm just going to reserve everything until the end of the market and see what happens. Would like some bodies to be in, but it is what it is. We can only deal with who's actually here. On that note, though, people, Deluded, I'm going to keep it moving. I'm out.